In this video, I will show you 3 very simple and amazing steps how you can bring your melodies to the next level. So I had this melody here. Let me play this quickly. And I think it's a good melody and it's very trancey, but it's also a bit vanilla. And the thing is, it's totally on the scale. All the notes are on 8 notes here. And I tried to make this melody a little bit more interesting with 3 little shifts. Listen to this one. That's kind of like the other version. So let's try to go from the original version to a more interesting version. So first things I would try is changing the pitches. And if we listen to this melody here, then you will notice that especially this jump here sounds a bit trancey in my opinion. It sounds a bit too kind of pleasant. I guess some of you might even like this melody more than the other one, but my tracks usually have a little bit of a darker style and you need to know what you want. So I can understand that maybe not everybody agrees with the changes here. If you listen to this, you will notice that this makes a very trancey vibe. Before we change anything, you really need to take a deep listen and find out where are the properties in that melody which are not the ones you want. So I feel it here and somewhere here. So let's see what we can do here. And you can do this with pre-listening or out. I will turn it off. So that sounds out of key. So let's go down. That also sounds not good here, I think. That's already cool, but I think it makes a very sad vibe as well. So it's not really, it's dark, but it's also sad. And that's also not so cool in that melody because it's flowing trancey. And so let's see one more. That sounds also out of key. And yeah, you might say, okay, all the notes which are not in the scale sound out of key, but I advise you to not ignore those notes because they can give you really amazing results sometimes. So I use often notes which are not in this scale, in this particular one, which I choose for the track. Let's see further. Yeah, and this one, I think it sounds nice. And it also has this Phrygian thing in it because we're on a Phrygian scale with this -1 to the root. So I think this really benefits the flow here. And then I think here it breaks apart again. This could work, but I think it doesn't flow so nice here in the end. That one would work. I think this one works a little bit better. That one doesn't work at all. This works, but it's a bit much of this like down, up. I mean, we have this here as well. You could say it's a motive and here somehow a bit the steps at least. I don't know. It's like down, up, and then we kind of like make a little bit the same movement. So I think this is not so interesting here. So it's either between this one or this one. Yeah, and that I think sounds good. If you want to learn a lot of amazing techniques how to create melodies, I do a whole month on melodies in my course. And the results are so far pretty amazing. So I have seen really good melodies from my students. Unfortunately, I can only take 10 students at the moment and we are quite full. If you want to be one of my students, you can apply on my homepage. So if you register for the newsletter, you get like to another page where you can either buy the video only course, which is available to everyone, or you can apply if you want to work directly with me, then you get like one-on-one video feedback. So I will sift through all your melodies in your track and your whole production there and give you feedback on my opinion, what I would change and what you should do to make them better. Really, I want to improve people, and I think this is like a game changer for most people. Then it comes about shifting the rhythm and the position, and just saying, it's not always that I start with the pitch. Sometimes I start also with the rhythm of the melody, and we are quite on 8 notes here. So actually everything is 8 notes. And what I would try then is, how could you move maybe one slot to a 16th note or two in the melody? Not too many, that it gets like completely lost. And it's a very difficult thing, because you will see, for example, if I move this, you get soon a kind of like sloppy rhythm, which sounds like either it's too early or too late. So this, for example, doesn't really sound good. And I see not so many options where we can do this. So maybe we could do it here. But this also, it sounds kind of like somehow interrupted here. And I see it here. So that could work. And I just want to show you 2 more tricks, which are, I think, a bit better. So you could just add like another note here. Or you could add like a note here, which sounds more smooth, but still kind of like gives a little bit of interruption here and breaks the pattern. So that's, I think, a very, very gentle way to do this. And another thing which works a lot of times really good is if you split notes. I already tried this before, so I can already tell this from kind of like my experience 5 minutes ago, but this works also a lot of times, especially if you have like an octave left where the preset sounds good, then that can be really nice to split it like and move it even more up and then quickly move down. And the third point we can use is note lengths. So now they have all kind of like more or less the same lengths besides this little thing here. And I wanted to try, does it sound better if we gate the melody like a little bit? So let's see. And I think it frees up the space a little bit. But on the other hand, this sound is made for gliding, I would say. It really screams at you that it wants to be glided. And I think it could be a good option to combine both. So why not having like shorter notes and then having the glides at the right moment? So for example here. This is cool. Let us now compare with the one I had before, the final one. Yeah, so we ended up quite close. We have, I think, a little bit different gliding position here, but the pitches were the same. We can also switch here, so you can click which one you want to see on top. And we have this part here a little bit differently. So that's where we did this split in the note. While we did on the other one, we did the split here. So I think both are options, and we could even try to combine them. So let's have a quick comparison. Actually, I think the blue version is a bit better than the one we did now. With having the split here and then having the glide here. But otherwise, I think we landed pretty similar. If I select both again, I think we have still like an additional glide here in the green one, but it's not a major difference. But let's compare this now to the original one, and you will see we have like the different note here, the different note here. Then we have the glides. So we didn't have any of the longer notes here before, which are specifically triggering that one. I mean, it was gliding before, but just to make sure that everything kind of like glides really through. And we didn't shorten any notes to get this gated feeling. So I think we did quite an improvement. by changing only little things. And that's the point, little things. So don't change everything in the melody because, I mean, you have done the melody. And also we moved very quick. That's also something really important, which I always want to emphasize. You don't want to get stuck like an hour in the rabbit hole because then you might create something worse and it just sounds better for you at this moment. So I hope this inspired you a little bit. Once you have a few cool melodies in your track or in your preparation or whatever you do, and then you just rehaul them and give them kind of like the last polishing. So you really look, does any pitch sound better? Does any kind of like movement in the time domain sounds better in the rhythm? Or does kind of like influencing the note lengths, does it make sound better? And obviously you can then start doing even more like automations, or you could add like little embellishments and stuff. But that's kind of like out of the focus. I really wanted to emphasize that with these 3 simple things, you can reach a lot with your melodies. If you are interested in how to create melodies, you find another video which you can watch next here.